In this movie, we will learn how to draw bar graphs using a table of data values. Here is our experiment. Rheolite wants to compare how long different brands of batteries last. In his experiment, he loads a fresh battery of a particular brand into his favorite flashlight. He leaves the flashlight on continuously and he records the time for which the bulb remains lit. He conducts 3 trials for each brand of battery and he calculates the average time that the flashlight remains lit for each brand. For the extreme brand, in the first trial the bulb remains lit for 55 hours, 50 hours for the second trial and 48 hours for the third trial, giving him an average time of 51 hours. He conducts the same experiment for the other 4 brands and calculates the average time for each brand. Since the independent variable in Ray's data is a category, the brand of battery, rather than a number, we make a bar graph. Bar or column charts or graphs are often used when we have a category that we need to graph. The bars might be oriented horizontal or vertical as desired. They are used when the independent variable is a discrete quantity or category rather than a continuous variable, and they can be used to show comparisons between data. To make a bar graph, we first mark the independent variable on the horizontal axis and the dependent variable on the vertical axis. We then add a descriptive title. It is best to include the names of the independent and dependent variables in the title. We then mark the discrete values of the independent variable on the horizontal axis and the values of the dependent variable on the vertical axis. It is best to choose a scale so that a large part of the graph paper is used. We are now ready to add in the data. We start by drawing a vertical bar from the horizontal axis to the corresponding value on the vertical axis. For the extreme battery, we draw a bar from 0 hours to 51 hours. In a similar manner, we draw vertical bars for the rest of the brands of batteries. There we have it, our bar graph. If we drew the same bar graph by hand, the process is identical, and this is what your hand-drawn bar graph might look like. Why do we not draw a line graph for this same data? The reason we do not draw a line graph is that in a line graph, the lines between the data points imply that there is a continuous variation between those 2 data points. So in this case, it might mean that as we go from the extreme to the go for it battery, the number of hours changes from 51 to 38 hours in a smooth fashion. This is of course meaningless because the different brands of batteries are discrete quantities and there is no continuity between the different brands. This is the reason why data that has discrete variables is represented by a bar graph rather than by a line graph. Now you're ready to make your own bar graphs.